Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm George Thomas. Today, Israel keeping up its offensive against Hamas in Gaza and denying Hamas claims of a famine in that region. And in Syria, more than 1,000 Druze and Christians have reportedly been killed in the fighting there. Here at home, House Speaker Mike Johnson tells CBN News he's willing to subpoena former President Barack Obama over allegations his administration manufactured intelligence about the Russian collusion investigation. We'll bring our Studio 5 look at BeBe and CeCe Winans performing together and hosting the 40th annual Stella Awards. And finally, more than 2,000 young people coming to Christ at a special summer camp in South Carolina. Those stories and much more today on NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
Hello, folks, but we begin in the Middle East, where Israel is keeping up its attacks against Hamas and denying Hamas claims of a famine in the Gaza Strip. And the fighting is reportedly dying down in Syria for now after members of the Druze population and Christians have reportedly been killed. CBN Middle East correspondent Julie Stella brings us a story.
As Syria reels from the latest round of fighting between government-backed Bedouin attacking the Druze and Christians in the south, hundreds of bodies are reportedly piled up in the morgue at the Sweda National Hospital. More than 1,000 Druze, Christians, and others have been massacred there. According to Axios, senior U.S., Israeli, and Syrian officials are due to meet on Thursday, attempting to reach security understandings. But fighters for the Bedouins against the Druze are vowing to stay put if the government doesn't take over Sweda, where the Druze live.
If the government doesn't seize control of Sweda, we will stay here, we'll stay tomorrow, and the day after, and the following day, and for a month's time.
Meanwhile, in Gaza, the IDF continues its latest offensive against terror groups. As Hamas continues to fight the IDF in the streets, it's also waging a media war, saying the people of Gaza are starving. The Gaza Humanitarian Foundation says it's distributed more than 2 million meals in 2 locations yesterday and sent a letter to the United Nations calling for more collaboration to deliver life-saving aid to Gaza. GHF Executive Chairman Johnny Moore says that while GHF is working well, no one organization can meet all the needs. The IDF released drone footage and a statement saying there are currently 950 trucks full of aid waiting inside Gaza for international organizations to pick up and distribute. And social media posts claim that more Gazans are protesting against Hamas, demanding that the terror group surrender and leave. Meanwhile, the U.S. says it's pulling out of the UN cultural agency UNESCO because of its divisiveness and anti-Israel rhetoric.
UNESCO's decision to admit the, quote, state of Palestine, end quote, as a member state is highly problematic, contrary to U.S. policy, and contributed to the proliferation of anti-Israel rhetoric within the organization.
Israeli Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar thanked the U.S. for its decision, saying in a post on X, "This is a necessary step designed to promote justice and Israel's right for fair treatment in the UN system, a right which has often been trampled due to politicization in this arena." Back in Israel, U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee says the issue concerning visas for American evangelical organizations, quote, has been fully resolved. In a statement, Huckabee said, American Christians are some of Israel's strongest supporters, and the resolution of this issue among friends is a welcome outcome. Julie Stella, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thank you, Julie. Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief Chris Mitchell is now with us. Chris, I'm just so curious, how did this fighting in Syria started, and why are the Christians involved?
Well, George, it began because a dispute between the Druze and some of the Bedouin tribes there in Sadwa, and it just grew up from that. It seems that the regime forces have come down in many places here, George. This is really a jihad against the Druze and many of the Christians that live in that area. Seeing the footage from social media of what many of these regime forces are doing, some with ISIS patches on their uniforms, is just simply horrifying to see some of these families being executed. Not too long ago, there was a family of 20 Christians and a pastor that was slaughtered. That's why you have nearly 1,000 bodies there come at that morgue that Julie showed in her report. It's really, in many ways, it also signals, George, I think, the tone and the direction of this new al-Jilani government there in Damascus, backed by Turkey.
Let's turn to Gaza. Israel is keeping up its military offensive against Hamas. How much progress are they making? And boy, I mean, is there any chance we could see a ceasefire between these two groups?
Well, in terms of the IDF, George, they're making progress. They say well over 60% of Gaza now is in IDF control, and that's what they've decided to do. About 3 months ago, Gideon's chariots not only take the land but control it. That's way they can just keep Hamas away from the population, and whether or not there's going to be a ceasefire deal. George, we keep hearing day after day there's some the breakthrough or close to a breakthrough, but so far there seems to be no definite breakthrough. Steve Witkoff apparently is on his way to the region, but whether or not there's going to be a breakthrough, the talks to release all the hostages. The holdup, many ways, George, is the end of the war. Hamas wants the end of the war. That's something Israel's unwilling to do. And also negotiations about who's going to distribute aid inside the Gaza Strip.
And on that very topic of aid, Hamas is claiming there's famine in Gaza, which obviously Israel is denying. What can you tell us about that and these protests, these reported protests against Hamas taking place in Gaza?
Well, in terms of the famine in Gaza, it seems to be a media campaign by Hamas designed to bring sympathy to the world and also to undermine what the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is doing by providing a separate free aid and food to the Gaza population. These protests against Gaza, we have seen them over many months here and there, but sometimes, sadly, they're suppressed by Hamas, but I think it does indicate there are some of the population in Gaza does not support Hamas. They want an end to the war. They want to go back to living their lives free of this conflict between Israel and Hamas.
Chris, the United States has once again pulled out of the UN organization known as UNESCO. Why is it important to Israel that the Trump administration pulled out of this UN agency?
Well, it shows that the Trump administration and the Israeli government are on the same side in terms of UNESCO and the way that it has a anti-bias against Israel. It politicizes, as Julie said in her report, the bias against Israel and the pro-Palestinian approach. They've recognized a number of Palestinian heritage sites. So it's a welcome sign from the Trump administration to the Israeli government.
Right at the end of Julie's story, she made mention of the fact that the U.S. Ambassador Mike Huckabee talked about solving this issue regarding visas for American evangelical Christian organizations. Real quickly, bring us up to speed with that.
Well, as he came into the administration in January, the Ministry of Interior had changed the way that Christian organizations could obtain visas for their volunteers. He stepped into the middle of this and really has stood up for these organizations that really support Israel, that do what they can to stand with Israel, and yet sometimes the Ministry of Interior has made it very difficult for these organizations to manage their to survive and to manage their volunteers. So for many, it's a welcome way that the Governor Huckabee, Ambassador Huckabee, I should say, has stood in. It's really a welcome sign.
Yeah, okay, terrific. Chris, my man, we'll have to leave it there. Our CBN News Middle East Bureau Chief, Chris Mitchell, as always, thank you so much for your insights, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from you again, I'm sure, in the days ahead. Coming up here at home, Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, sits down with CBN News, and he tells us he's willing to subpoena former President Barack Obama. as more revelations come about the Obama administration's role in the Russia collusion investigation in President Trump's first term. We'll have that exclusive interview when we come back. Stay with us. Welcome back. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard claims she has proof that the Obama administration manufactured evidence against President Trump in an effort to discredit and weaken him in his first term. House Speaker Mike Johnson tells CBN News Gabbard's revelation is, quote, deeply problematic. He spoke about that issue as well as the Epstein files in this exclusive interview with our chief political analyst, David Brody.
Although news during Donald Trump's second term has been coming fast and furious, this latest bombshell is downright startling. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard declassifying documents showing what she labels overwhelming evidence of former President Barack Obama and his national security team basically creating intelligence about Russia attempting to influence the 2016 election.
There's no question in my mind that this intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered be published, which contained a manufactured intelligence document. It's worse than even politicization of intelligence. It was manufactured intelligence that sought to achieve President Obama and his team's objective, which was undermining President Trump's presidency and subverting the will of the American people.
Gabbard called the act treasonous conspiracy. Speaker of the House Mike Johnson is troubled too.
Well, I don't know how to summarize it by way of description in a snappy phrase, but I will tell you it is deeply problematic. We recognize that the people who are being called out now were involved in a scheme. We knew that it was a shameless, false set of accusations, and yet they perpetuated the lie on the American people, and they looked right into the camera and just lied, clearly. And they knew what they were up to the whole time. So there must be accountability for that.
You say there must be accountability. The DOJ will work on the criminal aspect of this. What's the role of the House here specifically? I mean, people want to see subpoenas. They want to see depositions. They want to see whether it be Brennan, Clapper, potentially the former president of the United States. Are you willing to go down that route? Because a lot of people want to see some of these folks questioned under oath.
Of course. Look, I think we have a responsibility to follow the truth where it leads. And I do expect that whether there's a special counsel appointed, which some are suggesting, and or in conjunction with the House investigations, that we will get the answers. And there will be accountability to the extent that we're able to do that, referring people to the DOJ for prosecution and any other measure that is appropriate as we begin to uncover more of the facts.
Does it get tricky at all with the former president, President Obama, looking at what his role in this is and bringing him in for some sort of deposition, potential subpoena?
Well, listen, I mean, we have no concern about that. If it's uncomfortable for him, he shouldn't have been involved in overseeing this, which is what it appears to us has happened.
The other story continuing to make waves, the Epstein files. Democrats and even a few Republicans want a House vote to force the DOJ to release all the Epstein documents. They filed a discharge petition, meaning if 218 members of Congress agree, they can force a vote. The Speaker has some tactical maneuvers to stop it if he so chooses.
Are you willing to let them have that vote, or procedurally can you kind of, how do we say this, muck it up a little bit?
Well, I think it's a moot point now. I mean, there's no daylight between the House Republicans and the White House on maximum disclosure. The president has said that he wants all credible evidence to come forward, and he's now ordered the grand jury testimony or asked the DOJ and the Attorney General to request that of the court, and they have, and we'll allow the space for all that to play out. And so if there's a role for Congress to play, we will. But right now, we're in full agreement with the Commander-in-Chief.
So would you allow then, or you would not allow the discharge petition to go forward?
The discharge petition is a political ploy. The Democrats are playing games with this. You know, I'll let everybody else determine the motives of everyone involved, okay? But obviously the Democrats here have shown their hand many times. They want to try to damage the president. They want to go after President Trump. They want to put speed bumps in the way of all the progress we're making, and they see here a political opportunity.
For the Speaker of the House, just another politically charged and busy week on Capitol Hill. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.
Thank you, David. Still ahead, turning to the world of entertainment, BeBe and CeCe Winans returning to the stage together as co-hosts of the Stella Awards. We'll bring you that story right after this. Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Reunited, and it feels so good. BeBe and CeCe Winans returned to the stage together as co-hosts of the 40th annual Stella Awards. And here's the scoop. They're also going to be performing together. A vocal reunion we have all been waiting to see and hear. Ephraim Graham has more.
Oh, no, ain't no smiling faces. I said lying to the faces. Said ain't no smiling faces.
What made you both say yes to the Stella Awards as hosts?
Why don't you answer that? Because I'm serious.
Well, I kind of dragged them in. You know, first of all, Don is such an awesome person, and he was a blessing to us years ago. But they asked and they asked again. But it's been 40 years. You know, it's been 40 years, and so that's why we just said yes, because God has been good to us. It's been 40 years, 41 years since we came out. So it's like the perfect, yeah, you couldn't have made this up any better. So I think it's a good thing.
The time that we live in, people need to see and hear good news. I think that itself was an easy yes to, because people need encouragement. People need hope.
What's your prayer and vision for the evening?
That I stay up.
Oh yeah,
and don't fall
right.
asleep. CeCe knows I go to bed at 6 o'clock p.m. So this is way past my bedtime.
He was old before he got old. But I just want it to be fun, you know, celebrating, worshiping our God, and all of us really understanding how blessed we are to be able to do what we do.
This award show reunites the two of you on stage. Will there be a united performance? And will we see a BeBe and CeCe Winans reunion in the recording studio anytime soon?
You really going into a lot of stuff. We're just hosting right now.
Enjoy the evening.
But I think it's okay to let you know we'll do something together that night. But that's all that's in the plans and the works right now. He got us in the studio. He got us on tour. You got a lot going on.
Let's look back at the history of the Stella Awards. What would you say your most memorable moment is?
I'm sure they're going to bring up a lot of videos that we don't want to see. A lot of hairdos that I don't know what I was thinking about at the time.
There's a lot of great memories, but that is one of my favorites. Just watching it, seeing it, its birth, you know. And now we're 40 years down the road.
What performance are you most looking forward to that evening?
Oh, well, ours. It's been a long time, so we need to prepare. We're going to be prepared for that. But I really look forward to ours, and I'm not saying that to knock anybody else out. I really don't know whoever else is performing. But then I got another performance that I'm looking forward to. But can I let that out the bag too? I can't let that out the bag. Yeah. So right now I'm just going to say ours.
What do you do to get ready for the show? What's the preparation look like?
When you get to this point, you know that you're depending on God totally, and not your voice and not your talent. So therefore, there's not fear that you would have, 40 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Hey, when I mess up, I mess up good. So there's no fear in that.
It's going to happen, not when or if. It's just, not if, but when.
Yes.
You're going to have those days. But yeah, we're healthy, we're strong. So just preparing mentally, being prayerful, because again, like BeBe said, we can't depend on our talents and our gifts and even us coming together to do what God wants to do that night in the hearts of people and for gospel music. So we'll be praying and expecting God to do what only He can do.
So awesome these two legends can share the stage once again. By the way, BeBe and CeCe Winans are hosting the 40th Annual Stella Awards in Nashville, Tennessee on August 16th. In other entertainment news, the bad guys, well, they are back in their new animated film, and this time the crew is being forced to do one last job. Here's a quick preview.
We need the bad guys for the biggest heist in history.
Maybe you don't keep up with the news, but we're good now.
I'm not exactly asking.
Don't tell me you guys are bad again.
No, we're being set up. We need to show the world we're good.
Studio 5 will have more on the bad guys too in coming days. But tonight, watch a special edition of Studio 5 as we celebrate the 125th anniversary of the famous hymn, Lift Every Voice and Sing. Ephraim Graham sits down with several scholars to talk about the history and significance of the famous song. You can catch the new episode of Studio 5 on the CBN News channel at 8 Eastern. You can also watch it on the CBN News app or on YouTube. Coming up, how young people are coming to the Lord at a special summer camp. We'll bring you the details when we come back. A spiritual tide is shifting this summer among Gen Zs here in the U.S. More than 2,000 youth making decisions to follow Christ at a summer camp in South Carolina. Pastor Clayton King witnessed the outpouring at his Crossroads camp in Anderson. He started a 6-week summer camp back in 1996. He also points to an event at Indiana Wesleyan University recently as evidence of revival among Gen Z. King posted images of what he described as hundreds of students repenting and responding to the gospel. So exciting. The Lord moving around this nation. Folks, that is it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel anytime or online with cbnnews.com. From all of us here at the headquarters of the Christian Broadcasting Network, have a great day. Bye.